So the past 365 days have been crazy, so I figured I'd share 22 life lessons I learned in 2022. Let's go. Number 1, deliberately separate work from home. Now, I know this one is insanely difficult for all of us. Sometimes we just have to bring work home with us. We get behind on work, or maybe we're trying to get ahead for that promotion we want. There's any number of reasons we have to bring work home. And I'm not suggesting that we completely cut out any extra time that we put into our jobs. Now, what I am saying is that we could all do a little better and be more efficient with our time at work so that maybe we don't have to work overtime or be forced to bring work home with us. I know my family and friends appreciate it when my focus isn't competing with work, and maybe yours will too. Number 2, don't sweat the small stuff. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I used to get unreasonably upset every time something broke around the house. And it seemed like it was happening all the time, just all at once. Something was breaking, whether it was the dang dishwasher or a check engine light would come on my truck, or just even things at my job not going well. I swear every time I had to pick up someone else's slack at work, was given some unreasonable deadline, I used to break down into a full-on panic attack and just shut down. But here's the thing, I realized that the world wasn't gonna end, and that if I just took some time to stop, take a deep breath, and just assess the situation, I could come up with a plan and then attack my problems head on. And I encourage all of you to give this a shot. When things are just going south, quick, fast, in a hurry, just stop, take a deep breath, and then assess the situation. And you'd be surprised what you can find on Google or YouTube to help you with whatever issue you're having. Work through the problem. Number 3, bottom line up front is underrated. This is a principle that I've heard many times over the years in my military career, but it was only fairly recently that I really understood the power of this phrase. See, when you're not sure how to start or know which way to go, try by stating the bottom line up front before taking any action. It's hard to know which direction to drive if you don't know where you're going. Now, a lot of people you'll encounter in life will act like they know what they're talking about, but if you really pay attention, all they do is beat around the bush and they can't really give you a solid answer on anything. Don't be like everyone else. People like trustworthy and confident people, and if you can state your intentions up front, and you'll be seen as someone who's solid and dependable. You'll be seen as someone who knows exactly what they want, instead of someone who is constantly unsure of themselves. State your bottom line up front, then you can elaborate on the details later. Number 4, what gets measured gets managed. Yes, I know this is cliche, but that doesn't make it any less true. If you have goals such as to get into better shape, or to lose weight, or to work a side hustle this year, then try setting SMART goals. Now, SMART is an acronym for goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. For example, let's say your goal is to start a YouTube channel this year, which, by the way, I highly recommend as a way to generate income on something you either know a lot about or something that you enjoy. Anyway, so our SMART goals might read like, I will post one video every other week for the first 2 years of my channel in order to generate passive income in the future. Okay, let's break down the SMART goal a little further. Specific, you want to generate video ideas, script, film, edit, and post. Measurable, you will track your progress by sticking to your schedule of posting one video every other week. Achievable, this goal is achievable because you are allocating 14 days to complete each video from start to finish, and this is plenty of time. It's achievable. Relevant, the reason behind spending time working on building a YouTube channel is to eventually generate passive income and improve your quality of life. Time bound, you have given yourself a 2-week window per video in 1 year to go through the entire process regardless of the results along the way. This is a powerful system that can be used for all kinds of goals. I use SMART goals so much in my day job that I really don't even think about it anymore. I use them for this channel as well. My current goal for this channel is to script, film, and edit 12 short form and 4 long form videos every month. And I do this by allocating 1 week to script, 1 week to film, and 2 weeks to edit. The system is so great because it forces you to take one large goal and then to break it down into those bite-sized manageable pieces. This is the kind of system that will help you when you're starting on that next new big thing that you want to achieve. Number 5, step up when others won't. I am a firm believer that success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. But what happens when we take on big efforts every once in a while? See, too many people have the whole "that's not my job" mentality, and honestly, it really sucks for everybody. You know, sometimes all it takes is for that one person to step forward and do more than what's required of them to just rally everybody together. We all get busy, I get it, and we don't want to take up someone else's slack when we don't have to. But we could all do with a little more optimism and a little more yes in our lives, so why not be that change in the world and try it on for yourself? This is just another learned skill just like any other, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. You'll be able to step up and help more people in less time. Give it a shot. It works. Number 6, going with the flow is overrated. Now, I wish I could sit here and say with a straight face that I spend every single moment of my free time grinding away, making YouTube videos, that I hustle 24/7, that I never stop pushing forward. That would be disingenuous and a flat out lie. Sometimes I really just want to sit around the house and do absolutely nothing and binge out on Netflix. And sometimes I don't feel guilty about it in the least bit. Really, the reason I don't feel guilty about it is because I try to plan my downtime. You've got to take time every so often to reset your mind and body. It's like a hard drive, it fills up quick. But that doesn't mean we can't take a little time and plan for a reset. Now, I do try to plan for this downtime because typically when we just go with the flow, we tend to take that inch that we give ourselves and we make it a mile. We tell ourselves that we just need a little break, and next thing you know, we're binging a new show on Netflix from start to finish. Our time is precious and we have to be deliberate in how we spend it. A little time planning goes a long way. Number 7, give more than you take. I try to take every chance I get to say yes to things that come up from my work or family. Even if I find it inconvenient at the time, I do try to help everyone I can. Now, this has more benefits than you realize. Now, for starters, everyone likes people who are willing to help out. And if you have friends or family that are, let's just use the word sensitive, then this will help soften the blow when your response has to be a negative one, when you have to say no. Be over the top accommodating when you can, but also know when to draw the line and say no when your own priorities are piling up. Number 8, hunt the good stuff. Now, I don't want to seem overly dramatic or give a sour tone to this video, but it does seem like the world is plunging further into chaos every day. I believe that now more than ever, we need to take stock of what we have and be grateful for it. It's too easy to let all the negativity surrounding us hold and consume every moment of our lives. Use moments of happiness squirreled away in your brain to bring joy when things are really turning south and starting to really suck. Hunt the good stuff along the way, and it'll help make the world seem just that little bit brighter. Number 9, time is the undisputed champion. Time is the one thing we can never get back, so we should use it wisely, including when we take time off. Now, we touched on this earlier, but I believe this is important enough to warrant its own talking point. I cannot stress enough how important it is to be deliberate with how you spend your time. If something isn't adding some form of value or positive emotion in your life, then get rid of it immediately. There are way too many choices in entertainment these days, and we have to be selective in what we spend our time absorbing. 24 hours in a day is all we get, and yet somehow it can either feel like too much or not enough depending on our circumstances. Get a firm handle on how you spend your time because you can't make any more of it. Number 10, be deliberate with time spent with family. Clearly, I am obsessed with the concept of time, so let's quickly touch on this one because I think you might be getting sick of it. Sometimes our lives get so busy with work and friendships that our families get pushed to the side. Create deliberate time slots where you do things together as a family. One of my favorite things to do is to set aside a daddy-daughter day at least once per month. Now, even if I fail to meet my own standard as a parent of those 29 days out of 30, I can always fall back on this one day out of the month where I am without a doubt the best daddy in the world to my little girl. Number 11. Combine Pareto principle and Parkinsons law. Parkinsons law states that work expands to fill the time available, and the Pareto principle, aka the 80-20 rule, states that 80% of the outcomes come from 20% of all causes or possible factors in any given event. In other words, you should limit your tasks to the most important ones to shorten work time, aka the 80-20 principle, while simultaneously striving to shorten the work time allotted to completing those tasks, Parkinson's law. Using both of these together, it allows us to identify the few critical tasks that contribute most to added value, and then we can schedule them with very short and clear deadlines. Start doing this and you'll be amazed how much progress you can make towards your SMART goals in a shorter amount of time. Number 12, spend less time with friends. Now, I keep a small circle of friends, and even then, I kind of keep my hangout time to a minimum. Now, admittedly, this isn't for everyone, but I have goals and ambitions which require me to carve out additional time in my already chaotic life. If you want to change your fortune and to build a better life for yourself, you're gonna have to find a way to free up time. My time is more precious to me now more than ever, and I'd rather spend it working on myself or with my family. And I get it. I am utterly obsessed with time, but trust me, when I say you can always make more friends, you can always make more friends. Now, what you'll never reclaim is lost time with your spouse or children. Number 13, cut back on alcohol. One thing the military is really, really good at is creating some of the world's most functional alcoholics. I personally never quite reached this level of prestige, but my excessive daily drinking was severely affecting my sleep quality, and it dulled my drive to work on my personal goals. Now, I do still enjoy the occasional drink, but I've cut back a lot this past year. My sleep quality is better. I wake up feeling more refreshed. I also have more money in the bank account, which is a bonus because I'm not spending money on alcohol all the time. In the end, it was a good move. Just cut back on your alcohol just a little bit. Number 14. Cut down on your hobbies. Everybody needs a hobby. I fully acknowledge this. I fully support this. But sometimes we let our hobbies get away from us and they steal far too much time from us. And I feel like I've said the word time at least 50 times at this point. Let's go ahead and make it 51. If anyone's been counting, comment down below. How many times have I said time in this video? Time. All right, anyway, hobbies. My favorite hobbies include going to the shooting range, riding motorcycles, racing cars, and I like to tinker with anything mechanical. All of my hobbies, well, they have two things in common. One, they're expensive, and two, they require a huge time commitment. Something had to give. I still do a lot of these things, but I've cut back to an extreme amount. With my typical workday being 9.5 hours plus another 4 hours on average working on YouTube, I'm pretty limited on my time. All that time I freed up for my hobbies, well, I can now put towards bringing you all content that hopefully is providing you with value. Also, if you're getting value from this video, then a like and a sub would be amazing. Anyway, on to number 15. Invest in yourself. So this is gonna be controversial, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Is putting all that extra overtime at work really worth that time away from your family or time you can be putting towards your side hustle? Now, don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me. I'm not so naive as to say something as cliche as money doesn't buy happiness. If you need more money to get your financial situation in order, then by all means, do what you have to do to set yourself up for success. But realistically, the law of diminishing returns is in full effect when it comes to time spent working and time spent away from your family or business venture. Now, think about it like this. What could you accomplish with, let's say, 10 years of deliberate effort? I mean, really think about that. 10 years of consistent effort towards a goal that you set out to achieve. What could you accomplish? In 10 years, where will you be at your current job? Maybe a couple of promotions, a new corner office, cool new parking space. Maybe your pay is increased by, let's say, $50,000 a year. Then 10 years from now, what's that put you at? $100,000 a year. That's great, right? I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. Many people live very comfortable lives at $100,000 per year. But here's the thing. What if you took that same energy over 10 years and you invested in yourself? I mean, what could happen? I mean, worst case scenario, what's the worst thing that could happen? Let's say nothing happens for the first 5 years. Minimal traction, slow growth, zero money's coming in. But you persist, you push past those growing pains. Year 6, you make your first dollar. Year 7, you made your first $1,000. Year 8, you're up to $5,000 a month. Year 9, $10,000 per month, which means you've already surpassed your 10-year working life of $100,000 per year working your safe salary 9-to-5 job. And then year 10 rolls around and the floodgates open and the world is yours. Your options are only limited by your imagination. Now, you could look at it like the first 5 years of zero growth were just a waste of time, or you could look at it like you spent the first 5 years honing your craft and sharpening your tools. You needed those 5 years to prepare you for what came next. If you're looking for a solid investment to put your money in, why don't you try looking inward and invest in yourself? Number 16, you don't have to give up your values to be a successful person. Now, I consider myself to be a pretty mentally flexible person, but one thing I hate with a passion is office politics. I don't think it should matter who I hang out with on the weekends or who I drink beers with at the conventions or who I golf with. If I'm a high performer and a team player, I should get that promotion over the next guy. Fortunately, the world don't work like that. The game, it's rigged against us. I'm stubborn and I'm gonna stick to my values, so now I'm faced with two options. I either play the game, the office politics, or I work so hard that I can overcome this self-inflicted handicap. Now, playing the game is easier, but I'm not one who likes to take the easy road. After all, hard times make for hard people, and soft times, well, they make for soft people. I've been extremely successful by sticking to my values and going all in on myself. The best version of yourself is hidden deep within you. Your job is to find what makes you unique and use it to your advantage. Find your unfair advantages. And if you need help finding your unique quality, then try asking someone what you're good at. And generally, your best attribute won't be far behind in their answer. Number 17, high performance and being easy to work with gets you recognized. So what I'm about to say is gonna sound like I'm bragging on myself a bit here, but I'm cool with that. What I'm about to discuss is a hard-won achievement, and I'm grateful of everything that I've done. So let's go into it. So this was my first year where I was eligible to put in my packet to be considered for promotion to major. And as a general rule of thumb, most officers don't get rated highly on their first go round, and they don't get picked up the first time on their promotion. Now, if you do get rated highly and picked for promotion in your first go round, well, it's probably because you played the game we were talking about. You played the office politics. You used it in your favor. But then there's the other option, the more rare one. Maybe you made a good impression with your performance. Well, fast forward, the list came out and I ranked top tier. First time around, promote ahead of peers. Awesome. Man, that was awesome. Now, I don't play office politics, but I do work my face off and am easy to get along with, provided you aren't incompetent and make my job harder than it needs to be. Now, the lesson in all this is that you can, in fact, work the bare minimum hours and still come out on top. I rarely bring my work home. It's because I'm efficient with my time during work hours and I crush it while I'm at work every often as I can. But I also make time to help everyone I can, regardless of a rank or position. Now, there are easier ways to get promoted, but thing is, the easier road, well, it never forged a strong leader. Be easy to work with, work hard, and the right people will eventually recognize it. Number 18, put value on your time. Family versus work versus your side hustle. Now again, here we go again talking about time. Yes, I know, but you've got to put value on your time. I have an entire video discussing this, so if you're interested, check it out. But in a nutshell, let's discuss the concept of placing everything into 3 life categories: needs, wants, and improvements. Everything in my life goes into these 3 categories, and I weigh them different to reflect how much time I need to devote. Now, this is great because it makes it very easy for me to quickly remind myself of what's important in my life, how much time to devote to that aspect of my life. Now, as you can imagine from how this video has gone so far, I place a very high value on my family, work, and self-improvement, and I devote very little time to my hobbies or even my friends. Now, maybe you will call that an unhealthy work-life balance. That's fine, but it works for me. Your job is to find out what works for you. Number 19, home is where you make it. So like most newly married couples, my wife and I, we built a beautiful home together. It's a brand new house. It was a great fit for us. It's just a small starter home. You know, we had a young family. It was perfect. Now fast forward a couple years, I've completed a deployment overseas. I'm having to take a job out of state, and we're having to work really hard for all this extra money that we needed because my wife is now a stay-at-home mom. And I'm not gonna lie, it sucked. I mean, we needed the money and the money was great, but it pained me to be gone so much. I was just gone overseas and now I immediately come back and move away from my family. But it is what it is. You do what you have to do to support your family. At this point, I'm desperate to try to get back home to my family. So the first chance I got, I took a new job, which put me back in my hometown. Well, kinda. See, now I had a 3-hour commute every single day. Well, that got old real quick, so I switched to sleeping under my desk during the week, and then I would come home on the weekends. Well, until they decided to renovate our offices, so then I was forced to sleep in a storage cage. I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. I slept in an uninsulated cage on a mattress on top of concrete. It's about as exactly miserable as it sounds. Now, the epiphany I had about my situation didn't occur to me until a couple months later. It was my first night at the National Training Center in Fort Irwin, California, and there wasn't enough indoor space to set up a cot, so I was forced to sleep outside in the sand. So I set up my cot, I set up my tent, and as I felt that wind whipping past that tent and felt that sand infiltrate every crack and crevice that I hadn't sealed up, I realized in that moment, there are worse places that I could be right now. And it got me to reflect on my current living situation and how good or bad it was. Kind of helped me to understand that really things are only as good or as bad as we make it. So the next morning I called my wife and I told her we were gonna sell that house and we were gonna move closer to my job so that we could be a full-time family again. So I proceeded to spend a month in the desert training. I flew home, and the next day I had a realtor in my house helping me to figure out what needed to be fixed on the house before the photographer showed up. And my wife and I spent the next week repainting that entire house. I mean the whole house, every surface repainted, pressure washed, bush hogged, got everything ready. And the house looked amazing. And we accepted an offer within 48 hours. Now, here's where it got interesting. What happened next was the biggest realization in my life. Instead of buying a new house, we decided to rent one. More specifically, we decided to rent on a military base. Now, given a choice, most people wouldn't willingly move onto a military base, but that's exactly what we did. Now, this new place was a huge downgrade from the house we had just sold from a visual standpoint. But after a couple months of living in the house, it became pretty apparent that we had made the right choice. The lack of the commute to my job allowed us to spend more time together as a family. Furthermore, the lack of visual minimal amenities in the house allowed us to spend less time maintaining a visually stunning home, and we could spend extra time on ourselves. We even found time to start a cooking YouTube channel together, Baker's Dozen. The point is, before we sold that house, we fell into the same trap as most other people do. We focused too much on our home being a showpiece for others. This really makes little to no sense when you think about it. Your home is meant to be first and foremost a place where you live and thrive, a place where you make memories with the people who live under the roof with you. So what if the floor plan isn't perfect or the counters don't match that Pinterest article your friend sent you? Enjoy your home for what it is and use it to build memories. Trust me, your situation could be worse. You could be sleeping in a sleeping bag lined with sand. Number 20, just get started. I absolutely did not want to sit down and write this script. I worked through the weekend, and most of those weekend nights were late. I don't think I've had a day off in like 13 days. I came home from work, my wife was sick, so I had to cook dinner and take care of the kids. When all that was done, I had a choice to make. I could sit down and watch TV, or I could sit down and write this script. The thing is, getting started, that's always the hard part. The idea of sitting down and writing this script was more painful than actually doing it. And once you get the dust knocked off and the juices started to flow, well, it wasn't so bad. The words just seemed to kind of flow out on the screen. If you can develop triggers and just force yourself to get the momentum going, you can accomplish a lot more in a lot less time. Number 21, 5 minutes is more time than you think. I swear, this is gonna be the last time I talk about time. Okay, but here's a thought experiment for you. Have you ever thought about how long 5 minutes actually is? That sounds crazy, I know, but just give this a try. I know you're not gonna do it because it's ridiculous, but you know, if you're crazy like me, I encourage you to try it for as long as you can. Set a 5-minute timer and just watch the seconds count down. Don't take your eyes off the timer, just watch. All right, now if you can make it a full 60 seconds, you're a dang trooper. 60 seconds is a long time to just watch your watch count down, and 5 minutes makes it feel like an eternity. The point of this is you realize how much time we waste. You waste so much time with social media and allow these in-person interactions to steal your time with meaningless garbage. I think I've driven the point home enough on the importance of reclaiming your time. It really is more precious than diamonds, because last I checked, science has found a way to create diamonds in a lab. Time, on the other hand, I think they're still working on that. Number 22, write your own story. Now, I'm still waiting for that certificate to come in the mail, my PhD in failure. It should be here any day now. I suck at a lot of things. I suck at so many things and failed so much that it's a wonder anybody has ever hired me for anything all those years ago. 2022, though, was particularly interesting because of all the highs and lows associated with me trying and failing at so many new things. It felt like yet again, I had hit a new low, and perhaps you're feeling that way right now, like you just hit rock bottom. But the thing is, when you hit rock bottom, the only place you can go is up. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and become someone else. It's never too late to build a new, better you. The thing is, it's gonna be hard. I get that. Your friends won't want you to change, but they stand in your way, and maybe it's time to get some new friends. Keep in mind, for every friend you leave behind in your journey to personal growth, I promise you, another one's gonna appear when you're ready. Use the pain you're feeling right now to forge yourself into something greater. This is a necessary part of the process. It has to happen. You don't want to be a piping hot mess when Mr. or Mrs. Right comes around the corner looking for you. Our story doesn't have to end when others say it does. Those who put in doubt your ability to be something more are simply afraid to take action for themselves. So it's up to you to take a chance, step out of your comfort zone, and more importantly, write your own story. You can learn a lot from your own experiences, but explosive growth can be kicked off by using the lessons learned from others. And my hope is that you can use my successes and, more importantly, my failures to improve your own life today and down the road. Everything discussed here today, it has had a dramatic positive impact on my life. And I truly do look forward to getting punched in the face some more by life. And then I'll have more an opportunity to share those experiences with you in the future. I appreciate y'all. Take it easy.